30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. Oh, now I got to move this way, huh? Wow. Okay. Welcome. God knows I have to be centered. Otherwise, the show cannot go on as scheduled. Welcome in to our beautiful new digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. They are so excited about us being here that they have a brand new menu. Oh, yeah. Lot of new stuff in it. New menu. Let me tell you this. The old menu had really good food, and so does the new menu. And I guess with that in mind, I can go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. Some of you have heard it. Some of you haven't. The second of our summer sports speaker series will be Tuesday, June the 6th, and Vanderbilt Athletic Director Candace Lee will be our featured speaker. And we'll give you more information here in the next few days. I need a tad bit of a break before we get knee deep into that. There is a big tournament here. Joel Butcher, Dan Williams, the entire staff putting together what is called, let me see if I got this right, the World Selects of 2023. Among the teams in this tournament, a group from Sweden, Switzerland, Finland, Kazakhstan, I hope I've said that right, the Minnesota Bears, the Toronto Elite, and the Carolina Whalers. Big groups in here. Eventually, we will show you some film footage of what these tournaments look like. These kids have got some real skill. This is not me and Kelly Holcomb out there just screwing around. Let's bring Kelly in and find out what his ice skating skills are. Kelly, how are you? You got none.
Yeah, I got none. I got none on that. I went snow skiing out in Colorado. This was when I first started playing, and my wife and I, we were trying to learn on the bunny slope, and we're up on the ski lift, and we get off, and I thought it was a pretty easy thing, and both of us failed, and we stopped the ski lift on the bunny slope. So yeah, my skiing and skating, I hadn't tried skating. My wife's done it before, but I'm out on that.
Rank amateurs.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. We got a really good show for you today that is very, very football related. Kelly's world of football is so totally off the beaten path, you won't believe it, but you're going to want to hear it because it's pretty good stuff. Kelly Holcomb, ladies and gentlemen, stepping his game up.
Well, we'll see. I mean, who knows? I've just always wondered. I've always wondered about these questions that I'm presenting today. So it's going to be. We'll see how it goes.
Billy, it was either that or we were going to exit him stage left.
It better get to talking.
Okay, so you have an update today that has real meat on the bone.
It's got a lot of meat on the bone, and
let's listen closely.
The Titans,
as they say in the Greek church, let us be attentive.
The Titans have the final financing piece for their new stadium with the largest public investment among NFL stadiums that they hope to open in 2027. The Metro Council approved by a 26-12 vote this morning on the final reading to allow its sports authority to issue $760 million in bonds. That combines with $500 million in state bonds for more than $1.2 billion in public financing committed to the Titans' enclosed stadium.
Oh,
George,
wow.
the stadium's total cost, $2.1 billion.
Yeah. Now, let's get down and dirty here. Okay, we knew this was going to pass. This is not exactly this just in material. Now, the fact that it happened this morning is, okay, Kelly, here is one of the big issues in this deal. And this is where the current season ticket holders want to say, cut the crap and give us the info. The Titans know damn good and well exactly what it is they're going to charge in the PSL world. For those of us who paid for PSLs almost 30 years ago, what we're being told is we're going to be credited what we paid the first go round. Now, a lot of us cynically think we know what that really means. And I would say to the Titans, if they were listening, and they're probably not, get it out there, the sooner the better. Because there is a belief among a lot of season ticket holders that we are going to get fleeced.
Yeah, I can see that happening, George. It's I don't understand how we talked about it, I think, last week, but how an average family goes to a game. It's unbelievable what you have to pay and what I had to go to New York, and I went through the airport, and I was trying to buy some pistachios, and those pistachios were $19. And I'm like, good gracious, I can't imagine, what people are paying for seats, what people are paying for the popcorn, the hot dogs, the beer, just a Coke. It's unbelievable. I don't know where it stops. I mean, these contracts are getting so huge with the players, but yeah, it usually goes that way, George. People that have been your loyal supporters are the ones that get fleeced. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but I can see it, like you said.
Don't get me wrong. The Titans have done a lot of good. This is a better city for both the Titans and the Predators having come to town. All of that said, the Titans have a soft market. In recent years, they have not been a consistent sellout.
Right.
To be honest, their product has been among the most boring in the league in recent years. Not to say they haven't had some success with that style, but they have been boring. I want a dome stadium here. I think it'll be great for the city. But what they have sort of done is left kind of unsaid the whole, what is the ticket buyer, the season ticket holder, what are they going to have to pay in PSL? And that's going to determine, in my mind, Kelly, a lot, because I think a lot of the people like me who are day one are not willing to get fleeced. We've been through this experience for over 25 years. Nothing wrong with the experience, but we don't want to be fleeced. And so I would say to the Burke Nihills of the world running the Titans, get the number out there soon and don't fleece us.
I agree, but are they talking about a dome, George? Is it going to be a retractable roof and all that? Is that what? Because that's what everything is now. Is it going to be a retractable roof if they put a dome in?
Billy, go with it. What do you got there?
Yeah, it's going to be a closed stadium. They're talking about the translucent roof. So, and I want to say that's what they've got in Vegas, where it's closed, but with sunlight, it'll shine down. Like it doesn't feel like an outdoor. It's almost a mix. It's the new age. I mean, this is going to be top of the line stuff.
Yeah, state of the art. Yeah.
So I wouldn't say retractable. Yeah, but translucent is what they're saying.
And now that we know all this, it's ironic that this all got done the day before the draft. Terry McCormick has had a lot of very strong thoughts about what a new stadium ought to mean to the Titans, whether they're rebuilding, reloading, whatever. And he will join us here in just a matter of moments. What else you got?
NBA playoffs, George. Last night, Atlanta knocks off Boston.
Yeah.
How about that? Trae Young,
How
38,
about them Hawks?
38 points. They're still battling. They're still fighting Celtics lead it, though, 3-2, and they're headed back to Boston.
No, they're headed to Atlanta.
One more in Atlanta.
Tomorrow
One more
for
Atlanta.
Game 6. If it's anything like Game 4, the Hawks won't play a lick of defense. Trey Young hit a shot from, I don't know,
40, at least 40 feet
give me Brattleboro, Massachusetts. I mean, it was way out there. About a 30-footer to win it.
Meanwhile, the Nuggets beat the T-Wolves. Jokic, big night, 28 points. They move on, and they beat the T-Wolves in that series.
I'll tell you one thing. They're not beating Phoenix if they don't play quite a bit better than they did against Minnesota.
Speaking of Phoenix, they put up 136 last night and barely. I mean, they had to really earn it last night against the Clippers.
Listen, I admire what the Clippers got done. No Kawhi Leonard, no Paul George. They hung about as tough as they could hang.
Yeah, and you don't have Kawhi Leonard. I think Kelly said that yesterday, right?
That's got to be really disheartening, though, man, because you go through the whole season and then your two stars are out and they just had no shot. And you're right, George. The Phoenix Suns are, they added Kevin Durant. They're really good. They got a big man inside. They got guys that can, and they're playing together, which that's what's fun to see. I can't watch regular season NBA games. I cannot watch it, but when they get to the playoffs, these guys play. Just like you watched last night at Atlanta. I mean, that was an unbelievable game, and I thought it was over. And I think everybody thought it was over. And then Trey Young, did he score the last 14 or 16 points?
Yeah, it was something crazy like that.
David said it earlier. I think David said it last week. The Phoenix Suns are the team to beat. They proved it last night.
They might be.
They didn't play great or perfect by any stretch, but I mean, when they're at their best, they're the best team.
Yeah, really
they got 3 incredibly talented people in their starting 5. And any of those 3, you talk about stretching a defense, Phoenix can do it. What else?
Booker had 47. Tonight, we got 4 games. Knicks and Cavs, 6 o'clock in Cleveland.
Yes.
So that's in Cleveland. Knicks lead it 3-1. Lakers and Grizzlies tonight. The Lakers can win the series in Memphis tonight, but Memphis, you got to believe they won't go down without a fight. So you got that tonight. Heat and Bucks as well at 8:30. Warriors and Kings at 9 o'clock as well.
It would not shock me if the Lakers win and close out this series. I don't guess I'd be totally shocked, Kelly, if there were a coaching change in Memphis.
Wow, yeah, I'm kind of with you, George. They, they've had everything. Now, obviously, John Morant didn't play one game, but they've got some good players, but I'm like y'all. It is hard to kind of root for them because of some of the things that they say and do, and just go out there on the court and play ball. It's a Tennessee team. You're obviously for them, and this has been, what LeBron did the other night. I mean, that's if I'm going to talk to anybody, it's not going to be LeBron. He got mad the other night, and what he did. I mean,
I'll talk to Austin Reeves. But I'm not trash talking LeBron. How stupid is that?
I don't care how old he is. He's the best. He's arguably the best player to ever play. He's got the most points in NFL or in NBA history. I wouldn't do that.
It feels like
one word, Billy. Dumb.
Feels like the Grizzlies are a little insecure about themselves as a team.
Yeah.
Like they don't quite have an identity. They are banged up, right? Brandon Clark not playing has been huge. But I'm with you, Kelly. They've been tough to root for. Back to the Clippers, though, with Kawhi. Update on his injury. He's been diagnosed with a torn meniscus.
Oh, wow.
So they will decide on the course of treatment for the injury within the next 2 weeks. The Clippers had lost 4 straight after the opening the series with a win. Didn't have Kawhi. They had said it was a right knee sprain, though. So it's actually a torn meniscus for Kawhi.
Yeah, that gets a little more serious. For the people who kind of dogged him, yeah, he's had a lot of injuries over the years, and that has made, the consistency really tough. But when the guy is right, he is a warrior.
Mm-hmm. Of course, let's go to the NHL. Yesterday, the Islanders beat Carolina 3-2. Carolina leads the series 3-2.
What are you doing, George?
Disgusted.
You went one too many.
I know.
A little greedy. Dallas shut out Minnesota 4-0. Minnesota put up no fight. Dallas now has the edge in that series 3-2. Edmonton beat LA 6-3. A lot of points, a lot of goals in that series between Edmonton and LA. They lead that series. Edmonton does 3-2. Tonight, Florida and Boston at 6 o'clock, and then Seattle and Colorado tonight at 8:30.
Yes, and we do have a pick on that last game.
Interesting.
Yes. Okay, Kelly, after the break, Terry McCormick from
We had
Main
one
Street.
more thing, George.
Oh, why didn't you tell us that?
Well, I was thinking you were going to say what's next, but
What's next?
the Commanders have declined the fifth-year option on Chase Young. It's not a surprise considering Ron
Really?
Rivera had said that they would announce a decision at the May 2nd deadline. But it's interesting. They didn't hesitate to pick up Montez Sweat's fifth-year option last spring. So that's where it gets a little interesting.
Yeah.
How much do they value Chase Young?
Apparently not as much as he thought.
Well, you got to be on the field. I mean, he's missed 22 games in the last 2 years. So, I mean, you got to, you can't make the club in the tub, and you got to be of some value. And when you're missing that many games, I mean, they're going to make a change.
Oh, Frank Wycheck used to give me that. You can't make the club in the tub. Okay.
That's a popular NFL saying for sure.
Oh, I know it is. After the break, Terry McCormick is going to join us, and we'll talk to him right off the bat about what this new stadium news means for the Titans. Are they in a rebuild? Are they using the stadium as sort of a timeline? We'll find out more from Terry. But first, let's talk to you about the NBA and the NHL playoffs. Are you betting? Well, today at Action 24/7, use the promo code George and get a 300% deposit match up to $20 on your first deposit. Action 24/7 is Tennessee's only locally owned and operated sports book. That's right. If you've got questions, these are good folks who live here. They're your neighbors located right in Tennessee. So download the app, visit action247.com to start all that winning. And, I've been saying, please bet responsibly, but I'm going to change it. Please, if you want to win, bet the road team in the NHL. Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Links. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Okay, this is going to be a very football-loaded show the day before the NFL draft, as it should be. And joining us from Main Street Media is our buddy Terry McCormick, who has talked before about this stadium. And Terry, first of all, thanks for joining us. Now we know for sure what we've suspected all along, which is it's going to happen. How does this affect the Titans? And more importantly, how should it affect the Titans?
I think that obviously when they go into a new stadium in 2027, they want to be able to hit the ground running and not have a team that's mired in the middle or bottom of the AFC. Now, that said, currently there are lots and lots of holes on this roster, some of which will be addressed this weekend with the draft. But certainly, when you look at right now, all that has transpired over the last few couple of years, and even yesterday with Aaron Rodgers making the move to the Jets, the AFC is loaded with quarterbacks, and it's loaded especially with young quarterback talent that's only going to get better. When you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, who's not really he's a veteran, but he's not considered a young guy anymore, but he's only still 27, 28 years old. So at most, he's probably even younger than that. I have to look it up. But you've got Mahomes, you got Burrow, you got Herbert, you got Allen, you've got, at least 5 or 6 guys. And the Titans are trying to compete in the middle of all of that. And certainly they got to have it figured out by the time they go into the new stadium. Now, that said, I don't know how bought in this franchise is to a complete rebuild, and this is why. I just don't see Mike Vrabel running out there with a team that he knows has no chance to win. Mike Vrabel is going to be a guy, and you saw that even last year in the middle of the struggles they had over the last 2 months of the season. Mike Vrabel was still out there trying to push every button he could to keep this team competitive. And even though the roster right now is a struggle, I can't see Mike Vrabel being in favor of, winning everything and going through a season where they'd only win 3 or 4 games.
By the way, a side note, and this has nothing to do with anything. Aaron Rodgers held his press conference today in New York, cleaned himself up considerably. Nice hairdo with a good haircut, not that nasty stuff he'd been showing in Green Bay. Isn't it interesting, Terry?
It really is. I noticed that, maybe old Aaron is turning over a new leaf at age 40.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's start, Terry, with the quarterback piece of this. You were telling me yesterday you are now certain that Ryan Tannehill will be back in 2023 as the Titans starting quarterback. How so?
The other day at his pre-draft press conference, Rand Carthon was asked about Ryan Tannehill. He said that he talked with Tannehill in February, and Ryan knows where he stands with us. Now, that said, Ryan Tannehill has been at the voluntary off-season program. And Kelly can back me up on this. If you are not part of a team's plans, if that team has plans to trade you or release you right away, one, you don't want to be there and put in your time with that team because you're looking for your next opportunity. And two, the team doesn't want you there because they are looking to move on and they don't want you getting hurt and then being on the hook for your contract and not being able to trade you because you're injured. So, you remember the whole Steve McNair lockout thing several years ago. Those two things right there, George, lead me to believe that Ryan Tannehill is your guy in 2023, but it probably leads me to believe too that he may not be your guy in 2024.
Okay, so that's also not a shock, but what you've put out there makes a lot of sense that this probably means he's coming back. Terry, it seems to me that, first of all, the Titans have got more holes than a Swiss cheese factory. And I've had to reconcile myself to the fact they're not going to fix them all this year. It's not humanly possible. Agree?
I would agree with that. I mean, when you've only got 6 draft picks, now I look for them maybe to trade back and try to get an extra choice or two to try and fill some of those holes. But, when you're in a situation where they are, and you need offensive line help, you need receiver help, wouldn't hurt to have another corner or safety to fill up some depth and that type of thing. You're probably not filling all those holes in one offseason. I mean, you'll have bodies there, but they're most likely not going to be impact players unless you get really lucky and maybe hit gold with a fifth round pick that ends up playing a lot.
Okay, so with that in mind, isn't the big question, if the Titans stay at the number 11 position, and tomorrow we're going to have some fun with all of this because however Houston decides to go could then decide who moves up to 3, which could have ramifications for the Titans, and on we go. But Terry, if they're sitting at the 11 spot, given where they are right now, isn't the big decision in the war room, can we wait till round 2 on Hendon Hooker, or do we have to strike now?
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair question. And I think it's a fair assessment. I did my mock draft, and certainly that's not the gospel or anything, but it used one of those draft simulators. Ran through it twice just to make sure. And both times Hendon Hooker was available in round 2. Now, that said, I don't think Hendon Hooker will be there at their pick number 41 in round 2. I think they'd have to come up and either trade down and take him with the first pick, or come up and get him either late in the first or very early in the second. I don't think he'll be there and last until pick 41, just because teams are always so hungry for quarterback prospects. And even though Hendon Hooker can't do a lot right now because of the torn ACL, there's somebody that will spend a fairly high pick on him, I believe.
Do they like Will Levis?
Well, they certainly have taken their time to meet with him. They brought him in here for a visit. They went to his pro day to watch him work out. As Rand Carthon said, they like to get face to face with some of these guys to kind of find out what they're about. So I think Will Levis is certainly in play if he's there at 11.
What is your sense of how they feel about Anthony Richardson?
Well, another one that certainly they brought in to take a deeper look at. Carthon went to his pro day because he's a Florida alum, so he knows a lot of people down there. He can get the lowdown on the Florida prospects, so to speak. But to me, Anthony Richardson is the biggest question mark of any of the quarterbacks in this draft, and it's because he's so young. He's, I think, 20 years old right now. And, there are people who talk about a guy having a high ceiling. But I think what you have to worry about with a guy like Richardson is not how high his ceiling is, how low his floor could be, because he is so young and so inexperienced. If you're going to spend a first round pick, you'd better be certain that he can come in and pick things up at a young age. It's the quarterback position is unlike any other. I can get away with a 21-year-old playing defensive tackle. I can't get away necessarily with a 21-year-old that's not mature enough and not ready enough to handle the life of an NFL quarterback. That's why you see a lot of these guys in the NFL that suddenly find themselves, after being around the league for 3, 4, 5, 6 years even, and then all of a sudden they get an opportunity. And because they've seen a lot, done a lot, watched a lot, all of a sudden they put things together and they're able to operate an NFL offense. If you're a 21-year-old kid, you're going to be learning, you're going to be watching some probably this year behind Tannehill, but then are you ready for what's going to come next at such a young and tender age? Some guys can handle it. Some guys can't.
Okay, Terry, ready to play a new game on the show?
Sure. What do you got?
It's called Fill in the Blank. You ready?
Sure.
If the Titans do not pick a quarterback in the first round, blank.
They will either draft the best receiver or the best offensive lineman on their board.
Oh, I don't think that's what I meant. So let's play this game again. Billy, why are you laughing
you want
over
me
there?
to take a player?
No,
You want me to take an? Oh.
no. If the Titans don't take a quarterback in the first round, blank. In other words, what does that mean? How do we interpret that? Where are they headed in the quarterback world?
It means that they are probably have their eye on somebody like Hooker with a later pick. That's what it would mean if they don't take a quarterback at number 11.
But you're like me. You don't believe he'll be around for them to select.
Not at 41. Even though my mock draft says that, not at 41. I think he goes somewhere between 20 and 35.
What do you think are the odds they trade down in the first round, which is what I've thought all along they should do to try to get more picks?
I think it's pretty good. I think when you look at their needs and what it is that they have to have at wide receiver, at offensive line, I think there are probably some comparable players that if you don't think that player is maybe worth that at 11, you trade down, you get down around 16, 17, 18, and maybe that guy's still there, or if he's not there, there's a comparable guy to him that you would be satisfied with, and you recoup an extra pick or two in the process.
Okay, let me try this one on you. Kelly will get you here in the next segment, so get ready for him. Terry, I'm not buying all this load of bull that Houston is going to ignore a quarterback at number 2. I think it's a bunch of gibberish. What do you think?
Well, there's two schools of thought here, George. The first school is take your quarterback at number 2, make sure that other than probably Bryce Young, you're getting who you want. The second school of thought is that if you wait, they have a second pick in the first round at number 12, right behind the Titans, that you could see a Stroud or a Levis or a Richardson fall to you at number 12 if the draft plays out the way that you think it might. And then you could get your quarterback there and use the number 2 pick on probably the best defensive player available in the draft.
Okay, but come on. Stroud isn't going to be available at 12.
Probably not, but Richardson or Levis might be.
Now that I can totally see. So is your gut feeling that they go with something else in the 2 hole?
I think it's very possible. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but I think it's very possible. That's kind of been floating out there now for a week or so, that the Texans could go defense with the number 2 pick and quarterback at number 12. Now, that said, they are armed with a boatload of picks. They've got basically all those picks that Cleveland gave them for Deshaun Watson. So even if they see their guy, they're afraid he doesn't fall all the way to 12. If they have enough ammo, they could trade back up from 12 to 6 and maybe draft Stroud there if they wanted to.
Okay, hang with us. You'll get a lot better questions out of Kelly. He's in the on-deck circle. He's dying to talk to you, Terry.
I know.
Gosh, don't get too excited. Stay tuned. We'll have more of this riveting conversation in a moment. It's a day before the NFL draft. We got Terry to laugh. That's a good sign. Stay tuned. We're coming back.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets, and we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
So it's the day before the NFL draft, and everybody's got predictions out there. I'm going to make a prediction to you, Kelly. You ready?
Sure.
AMC tonight will show Draft Day. Good movie.
It is a good movie. It's okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's okay. I mean, it's a lot better than Any Given Sunday. I walked into Any Given Sunday one time, and I told my wife, I'm like, we were into it 5 minutes, and I said, I can't watch this anymore. This is just not realistic whatsoever. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, don't worry about that. Get your game face on. Terry certainly has his on. Very serious. I mean, it was hard to get Terry to joke, laugh, smile. No Yankee jokes.
Focus, man. He's ready to go. I mean, because he knows he's got to be focused with you. And as usual, you take all the questions. So I'm going to have to shoot from the hip here.
No, I've left a lot of meat on the bone for you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So I want to do this. I want to reiterate about what Terry said about, Ryan Tannehill being in the facility, because I went through that with Tim Couch, and that can get really nasty. If a club does not want you, if they're trying to get rid of you, and that, Couch tried to piss him off because he would go over there and work out. And it was not a good situation. So I'm kind of like Terry. Now we don't know what's going to happen on draft day. I mean, they could trade Ryan Tannehill. We don't know that. I mean, I wouldn't think so, but it's just, it can become a very sticky, very cold, very bad situation. And I that's a thumbs up to what you said, Terry, with Ryan Tannehill.
Thanks. Yeah, I just have a feeling that he's going to be the guy, but I don't think anything's promised to him after this year.
No, it's not. What I want to ask you is, I I saw something on the news this morning about Will Levis. I don't know. You know, George and I talked about this yesterday, I think, but like nobody wanted to talk about him a couple of weeks ago, and now I saw something where some people think he might be the number one pick, and I'm like, I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it either. I mean, there are all kinds of people, and more of them now than ever before. I mean, used to you had Mel Kiper and a couple of others that would, you know, put together these mock drafts and try to give inside information on who they thought was going to go where and what teams like this guy and what teams like that guy. And now it seems like there's 100 of those guys out there, all with their own opinion, all with their own uh, agendas and things like that. And I just think it cropped up from there. I mean, you know as well as I do, Kelly, that social media, you know, the NFL draft has always been about rumors and misinformation, teams trying to play it close to the vest. Maybe they want something out there so that maybe their guy will fall to them. Social media has just multiplied that so much that I think it's just made it way more than it really is. I think the teams right now, they, you know, you're 24 hours away from the draft or 24 and change. And these guys, these teams know or have a good idea of what they're going to do with that first round pick, who they want. If you're picking in the first 3 or 4, you've got your mind made up as to who you want. I think it's just another smoke screen myself.
I got you. So at number 11, let's put you on the spot here. Number 11, I think they'll take a receiver or O lineman. Who would that be? Give me one of each.
I like Jackson Smith and Jigba as a receiver. I think he's probably the top receiver in this draft. I think he may very well be the first receiver off the board in this draft. And if the Titans can get him at number 11, if they decide that they don't want to trade down and pick up more picks, then I think this guy could be pretty solid filling in alongside Traylon Burks as a starting receiver for this team. On the offensive line, you know, I'll go back to Ohio State. I think Paris Johnson is probably the best tackle in this draft, the best guy to go and put in there, plug and play and go. But I'm not sure he's going to be around at number 11 because it's not always a sexy pick, but teams hardly ever pass up top flight left tackles and top flight offensive linemen in the draft. Because if you are in the first 10 or 11 of the draft, chances are your offensive line is not any great shakes unless you traded your way up there. So I would go with Johnson. If he's not there, then I think they would strongly have to consider Peter Skoronski of Northwestern, another guy that some people project as a tackle, some people project as a guard. That said, if I'm picking an offensive lineman at 11, I want the guy to be projected as nothing but a tackle, clearly, because that's a franchise cornerstone. I can find a guard in the 3rd round.
Hey, that's a good point because the Skoronski guy can play. I think he can play every position on the O-line. You could probably put him at center as well. So, you know, more you can do in the National Football League. Let me go back to this because y'all were talking about the stadium. How long has when was the Titans' first year in Nashville with the stadium?
The first year in Nashville in what was then Adelphia Coliseum was 99. They had played at Vanderbilt in 98 and at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis in 97.
Yeah, I can remember watching films on the Liberty Bowl and Vanderbilt, but it's seeming to me that with these stadiums now, there's more turnover. And my question to you is, because Billy told us that he thought it was going to be a translucent roof. So is this an ordeal where the Tennessee Titans want to try to get a Super Bowl here?
It absolutely is. That is a big part of the equation. There's 2 or 3 things that are factors in this. The first thing was the initial plan was to spend this money to renovate Nissan Stadium, sort of like the Dolphins did with what used to be Joe Robbie down there in Miami. They got into the stadium, into the infrastructure of it. They found that most of it was concrete and not steel, and it was going to make the renovation process almost as expensive to do as knocking it down and building a completely new stadium. So they decided it would be better to build this completely new stadium, throw an extra 500 million to 700 million in it, rather than renovate Nissan Stadium. And this way, if you made it an indoor stadium, then not only could you host a Super Bowl, but you can also host a Final Four, WrestleMania, college football championship, those sorts of things. So it opens up a lot of revenue streams, and that's just sports, not to mention, you can bring Garth Brooks and the Rolling Stones and people like that in here to play this venue, and you won't have what happened with the Garth Brooks concert a year or so ago where it got canceled because of lightning. You know that the date's going to happen. So it opens up a lot of additional revenue streams for the city.
Well, now let me butt in on this, Kelly, because there's a couple of things here. Number one, like everybody who's a sports fan, I want to see this stadium happen. Do I believe that at 55,000 as a capacity, this city's going to get a Super Bowl? I do not. Now, Billy, let me ask you this. Did they list a capacity for that thing today when they released the news?
I think I have to go back and check, but I think around 55 to 60 is what they're shooting for, and what I have read in the past.
60, I think they've got a shot. 55,000, I'll believe it when I see it. I just don't believe, as money grubby as the NFL is, they're not putting a Super Bowl in a 55,000 seat stadium. Now, do I think we get a Final Four or something comparable? Yeah, I do. But I just wanted to say that.
I don't think you're wrong, George. I think they really do, even if it means sacrificing a few empty seats on Sundays at Titans games. If you want a Super Bowl, you need to be closer to 60 than 55.
Yeah, but do you understand, George? Like we had to buy 2 tickets when we played. You understand how expensive those tickets are? They're going to make their money. I mean, because they'll just jack the price up to an incredible amount of money, and you'll have a bunch of corporations buying it. So you may be right. I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. That's a good thought. So let me ask you this, Terry. What are you? I mean, is all this Derrick Henry stuff that we're hearing? I mean, is that in the books for maybe trade day? I mean, for the draft day? I mean, is he going to get shopped around?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, Rand Carthon said Monday that he has not had a single call about Derrick Henry. They're not trying to trade him. I think Derrick Henry's kind of in the same boat that Ryan Tannehill is. He's going to be here this year, but how much beyond that, who knows? And I think that is really a part of the job that Rand Carthon has to figure out is, he's got his base covered for 2023. 2 top offensive Henry and Tannehill. Does he have after that? And how does he want to tool this team? And how does Mike Vrabel want to tool this team? We know that he admires running the football, but can you continue in the NFL today flying in the face of the way the league is trending, the way the league is going with these, dual threat quarterbacks and these guys who, these jackrabbit receivers that can run down the field and run by you and turn, or even turn a 10-yard pass into a pass play just because of their speed and their looseness. So they've got a lot of decisions to make about this roster. Once this year, Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, and where they want to see this franchise go from a schematic standpoint.
Well, Kelly, why aren't your Buffalo Bills picking up the phone on Derrick Henry? What am I missing there?
I don't know. They've been in. I've heard that they may draft Bijan Robinson if they can get up to him. So I don't know. You may be right because they're obviously they've plugged some guys in there the last couple of years, and I wish Josh Allen would just take what the defense gives you because I'm a Bills guy. I want those guys to do really good, but that would be that would be something that would definitely help them maybe get over the hump. I got to ask you one more question, Terry. Amy Adamstruck, she really likes Mike Vrabel. I mean, is there any heat on him? Do you think? I mean, do you think there's any heat because it's been kind of lackluster the last couple of years, and I'll be honest with you, as a quarterback, I know. it's tough. I get it, but he wants to be a run-oriented guy and play good defense. But they hadn't been able to stop anybody in the pass game. And I mean, I know she loves him, but like, is he on the hot seat at all, or not really?
No, I don't think so. I think the John Robinson firing probably bought Mike a little, a lot of extra time. He just signed an extension last year. So I think that Mike is going to get the full complement of opportunities to be able to mold this team, as Rand Carthon has said, mold this team into Mike Vrabel's image, into what he wants to do. And then if they don't have success, that's when the day of reckoning might come. But I don't think that's anywhere near right now. That would be at least two unsuccessful seasons away from happening, I believe.
Okay. All right. George, you got it, brother.
Okay. I got a couple more, Terry. Give me sort of, in your opinion, the order if you were running the draft and you made no trades, you got 6 picks. Give me the order with a position.
All right. I'll say wide receiver, 1. Quarterback of the future, 2. Offensive line, 3, although that could easily be 2. But I think you have to take the quarterback first, simply for the fact that it's a much scarcer commodity. Then following that, I think you actually still need another tight end. You probably need a second receiver. And you can always use a cornerback on the defensive side of the ball.
Okay. Now let's take this a tad bit further. Let's say that, unlike recent drafts, all of these picks end up being really good. Everything is rosy. What is left that has to be done, that some stuff has to fall into their lap to be a division title contender?
All right. Well, if everything falls right in the receivers, the offensive linemen, if they hit, then you need Derrick Henry to continue to be productive. You need Ryan Tannehill to use those weapons and revert back more to his 2019, 2020 form, where he was making a lot of plays with his arms and hitting downfield plays off the play action. And then the third thing is, you need for the defense to stay healthy. In fact, you need for the whole team to stay healthy. And that's something they've not had the last couple of years.
Okay, maybe I need to ask it a different way. What pieces do they still need to go get? If all 6 of their picks, the way Terry McCormick just laid them out, end up being really good picks, this is pie in the sky, but if that happens, what else is left that they need to go get?
Okay. Depending on if you draft a guard or a tackle, you need an extra one of the other. You can always use an extra inside linebacker. You can always use an extra safety because they don't have a lot of depth right there. And you can always find defensive linemen, maybe as undrafted free agents that you can develop, like they've been able to do with guys like Tierre Tart and Naquan Jones, that they've gotten pretty good mileage out of. Cornerback is always a position where you can use help because you just never know there how it's going to play out. And they still really don't know if Caleb Farley's going to bounce back and be what he is. They don't know if Elijah Molden can stay healthy. So you need extra defensive backs.
Terry, you've done beautiful work. Gosh, if this thing, if this pro football reporting doesn't work, I'm basically gonna. Oh, whoa! First of all, I'm gonna give you a recommendation as a GM. Know that. Put that on your reference page. But Billy had
maybe in the USFL or the XFL first and work my way up.
Well, yeah, and look, if you end up in one of those leagues, put fans on both sides of the stands. Don't just dump them all on one.
Okay. We don't want to do as the general used to say and have bleachers on one side.
Absolutely. Billy, what do you got for him?
Well, Terry, you texted me earlier and said you've got a stat of the day for us. So we're going to have 2 stat of the days today, George. Terry is going to lead us into our official stat of the day, but he's got one. Terry, what might that stat of the day be?
All right. You can bring Kelly back into this too if you can.
Are you asking him
Right.
to release the question now?
Yes. Here we go. All right.
We can cheat during
This is
the
from
break.
Max Preps. And this is talking about where players are from. Only 2 states have not had a player drafted in the NFL draft in the last 10 years. Do you know what those 2 states are?
Okay,
Right.
Kelly, don't we
Well-
have to go Alaska?
Yeah, I would think.
Okay, is one of them
1 for 1.
Alaska?
Yes, you're 1 for 1.
Oh, yeah. Let's get that thumbs
I
up
need to
right
text
there.
Billy the answer so he can get some sort of thumbs up or thumbs down ready.
Okay, now we know Hawaii, eliminate that because of Tua and
Yeah, no.
others
What about-
from Hawaii.
What about like Idaho, or it wouldn't be Montana because Montana State and the University of Montana. So what about Idaho?
No, wait a minute. Isn't Boise in Idaho?
Oh, that's right. What am I
Okay.
thinking? Gosh.
So
What am I thinking?
we got to rethink this a little bit.
It's got to be in. Don't it have to be in like New England?
You're getting warmer.
I don't know. Gosh. I mean, are we including Puerto Rico or Guam or
We're not including
Haiti
Puerto Rico.
or any of them?
No, there have been no players that I know of drafted from Guam, George, if that's where you're going.
What about like
Oh, I got a great line. I can't use it.
what about Vermont?
Let's go Vermont. Let's. Wow.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. Very good.
Wow. After the ridiculous answer that I gave, Vermont. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Terry, would you like to stick around for the other one?
Sure.
Okay. Stat of the day comes up after the break, and then Kelly's World of Football. And I'll tell you this one's out there, man. It's out in left field, but it's going to be interesting. And Terry, it's one you're going to want to listen to. Trust me when I tell you. Stay tuned. We have more of the show from the beautiful Fordyce Center in Bellevue. Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
This is my buddy and former Nashville Sounds PA announcer Eric Berner. I always laughed in the old days at Greer Stadium when I would walk in, Eric would immediately play my favorite song, Van Halen's Jump. But then I learned he actually has a real job with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors.
Yeah, George, that's what I do. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. Everybody's situation is different, so I use a customized and individualized, personalized approach to the person I'm working with. Old 401ks, retirement planning, insurance planning, inheritance planning. Those are things that people like to get some more information about.
One of the things I find is people don't even know where to start, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, so I can usually help people with an initial phone call or meeting that is a no charge and no obligation.
And I'll bet you have a phone number and a website.
I do, George. They can call me at 615-235-1058 or rockcastlewealth.com or Eric at rockcastlewealth.com.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication, and we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700, send us a message at celestemiddleton.com, or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports, and then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general: baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back in. It is time for Stat of the Day, Kelly's favorite segment of the show, although he was on a roll yesterday. Got the Notre Dame question, so we'll see how he does today. Stat of the Day is brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards, located in Shelbyville. Give them a call at 931-492-4304. Once again, 931-492-4304. They're also located on East Depot Street, 204 East Depot Street. Open Tuesday through Friday, noon to 5, and on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Let's see what we got today in his NFL draft question. Terry's in the stream as well, so we'll add Terry in there as well. Here we go. This year, the Carolina Panthers hold the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. This will be the second time in Panthers franchise history that they have held the number 1 pick. Can you name the 2 NFL franchises that are tied for the most selections in the number 1 position in the NFL draft?
Okay, so we're looking for crummy teams. Terry, right off the bat, would the Detroit Lions be in there?
Yes.
I would think they would have to be close, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, well, that was fun. Let's see. Can you name the 2 NFL franchises
I'll give you a
tied
hint.
for the
It's
most selections?
It's not the 2 franchises you might think,
Really?
because one of them has had a lot of recent success.
How many times have the Browns had it?
The answer is each of these teams have picked 7 times in the number 1 spot.
I would say the when you say the Bengals, when y'all say the Bengals?
No.
No.
Hold
I
on a
would go.
second.
How about this? We all regard the Pittsburgh Steelers as being a great franchise for the last 50 years, but for the first 30 or 40 years of their existence, they were horrible.
They were bad.
What do you think?
Pittsburgh Steelers. Kelly, you okay with that?
Yeah, Coach Terry's absolutely right. They sucked for many years when they first started, so that could be.
Okay, let's go Pittsburgh Steelers. Whatever. I don't like the question.
With you.
Could New England be there? Terry?
maybe. I'm trying to think the
before
last time they
Belichick
had a
got
number
there, they
one.
weren't exactly model citizens.
Okay. All right, here's the question though. Are we going only since the advent of the AFL and the NFL? Are we the common draft? Are we going all the way back to the 20s and 30s when the NFL got started?
Yeah.
You're
What are we
not-
doing here?
Not going back that far.
Okay, so we're not Canton Bulldogs or the Rhine Fire or the Scottish Claymores. Okay, it's clear.
You guys need a hint. One of them is in the Titans division.
Okay.
It's got to be either Houston or Jacksonville.
Yeah. What the heck?
The Colts took
The
Colts.
Andrew Luck.
Oh, show us the answer. We're not even in the ballpark today.
Oh, the Rams.
The Rams and the Colts.
Wow.
Yeah, the Colts have drafted first a lot. Remember, they got Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, and Burt Jones all with number 1 overall picks.
Yeah, and they had Trev Alberts as well. He was the number 1 pick, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? We bombed. Let's be honest. We bombed. Terry,
Yeah,
how does that look on your resume?
I'm not putting it on there.
I don't blame you. Hey, thanks for taking the time to come on today.
No problem. Thanks for having
I
me.
know we're going to check back in with you in the next couple of days. We now are ready for a moment that many of you have waited for.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly Holcomb's World of Football, complete with an intro. It's a moment you have breathlessly awaited. It's time for Kelly Holcomb's World of Football. As shocking as this may sound, Kelly Holcomb's World of Football has sponsors. It's brought to you in part by Baird Financial with Yaz Hassan and Justin Oldham, and by State Farm Insurance, located in Murfreesboro, through agent Celeste Middleton. Okay, item number 1 on the list.
You were happy about that this morning.
Do what?
You were happy about that this morning.
Oh, I love where we're going with this, because what you're about to tell us is that the NFL Combine is a joke and a complete waste of time. Do tell.
It's an absolute joke. I mean, I when I went a long time ago, I don't know if it helps you out with any player. I mean, you can tell what they run and what they broad jump and what they, what they can, do the shuttle drill in. And, but it's like the best equalizer to studying a kid is on tape. Like, I was not a very good guy. I mean, I couldn't run very fast. I mean, I think I ran a 4.9 at the combine, but that just did not help me. In order for me to show people, you have to watch the tape. And I've always had these questions, this other question that we're going to talk to, but I've always had these questions about the NFL Combine. To me, it's every year these coaches get together, and some of them have been fired, and they all get together. They go out to eat. They go to St. Elmo's Steakhouse. They have a beer together. They hang out with each other. But I have never understood the Combine. I actually went early. I was one of the quarterbacks. We had 2 guys or 3 guys that went early, so I could get a little bit more, attention. It didn't help me at all. But, we threw, when the quarterbacks come, they normally just throw to the receivers. Well, I stayed for 4 days, and I threw to the receivers, to the tight ends, to the running backs. I went over and threw the ball to the linebackers, and went over to threw the ball to the cornerbacks and the DBs. My arm was, it was hanging from the time that was over. But I just have never understood the Combine, because nowadays these guys that go to they don't, like, if they're not ready, they're not going to, they just wait for their pro day. I mean, I said it earlier a couple of weeks ago that Stetson Bennett didn't work out at the Combine. He waited for his pro day, and I don't think that helped him much. So, with a guy like Bryce Young, who's undersized, the best measuring stick for him is what he does in games. All you got to do is turn on the tape. You can watch On the Clock with Peyton and Eli and their dad, and see what they do on tape, because that's the measuring stick for a kid. But, like, I understand that you want to see how fast somebody is. You want to see how how DBs get out of their back pedal, but you can do all that at their pro day, so and you can get all that on their, on their film when they're watching film. So I I've never understood the combine. I've never understood what it represents. I know it makes a lot of money. I know it costs a lot of money for those people to go there with all the flights. I mean, they bring, the quarterback coach, and the head coach usually stays there the whole time, but the quarterback coach or the DB coach, they have to pay for flights. It's just it's nonsense to me. I just have never understood it, George.
Okay, so you're going up against an established NFL tradition. Are there NFL people who privately will say, "What a crock"?
Oh, I don't think there's any question, but the NFL is big business now. You're not going to go against the establishment. The establishment's paying you a lot of money, so it's for guys to catch up with their friends. You can. I think the biggest thing for the combine is they can get an absolute look at you. I think that's the biggest thing. When you go in, and they parade you through there, I mean, you feel like cattle going to slaughter, because now, back in the day you had to have on shorts, but now they got on tights, and you go up and the quarterbacks are all there and they put you in order. You go up and it's a big room, and they sit there on a stage, and they make you get your arms out. They do your wingspan. They do how big your hands are, and they look at you. That's what they do. They got a big spotlight on you. It's hard to actually see out in the crowd. And I can understand that, with them getting an eye on you to see, hey, this guy looks pretty good. This guy's kind of a freak. This he's not what we thought he was. He looks, I don't know if his body can handle that. So I've just never understood it. And it's certainly, it can help guys like an Anthony Richardson, because he didn't have much playing, but when he goes to the NFL, he wows everybody by all the things that he does: his 40-yard dash, his vertical jump, his three-cone shuttle deal, his arm strike. I get all that, but I've just always wondered that question, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you guys think of it, but hey, we can all. I mean, what are y'all thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, Kelly, in my cynical nature, I used to call the OTAs glorified babysitting. Okay, it's basically this old, let's put our thumb under these guys and make sure they're not out carousing, and we got them so tired by the end of the day they can't crawl out of bed. So I've always thought OTAs to a point were glorified babysitting. Now, I used to have fun with Jeff Fisher about this, because I asked him one time, I said, if these things are so damn important, how did we get away with not having them for all those years, and yet somehow we had a league?
I'm with you. I can't wait till the draft get here so we can ask some questions about who the Titans got, or where these guys are going, or what trades. But like today, I just, it's always been in the back of my mind, because for a guy like me who's not, physically gifted running, or I do some things okay, but like my whole deal was intangibles, like my toughness, my competitiveness. That's what you find out from a guy if you talk to him. And I can understand talking to him when you go to the combine. I get that. But like a 40-yard dash is not going to help me. I mean, I had a guy that was behind me at he wasn't there. He actually transferred in. But Jonathan Quinn, who's a coach for Davidson Academy in Nashville, he played it. He played it middle after I had left. And the combine was great for him, because the dude is, he's 6'5", he's freakish, he can run. It helped him a bunch. He got drafted in the 3rd round, but for guys like myself, it just did not help. And, I'm glad that I got to go. I enjoyed the experience, but I think it's a bunch of nonsense. I really do.
Okay, I don't totally disagree with you about it. Here's what I'm trying to get at. Have you ever had either an NFL or a college coach privately off the record say, the combine is a joke?
No, they have not. They haven't talked to me, and I've never asked. But you know what? Today I would love to ask some guys. I would love to have Bruce on here and just talk about the combine. Like, do you really find anything out? Do you really? You find out physical abilities, but I know you can sit down with the guys and you want to get a look at them. But do you really find anything out? Like, that's not what measures a quarterback. The tenacity of a quarterback, the leadership of a quarterback. you might be able to find that out. And you might, I know they talk to so many guys. They talk to the head coaches in college, but I've always said this too. Like, if you're a head coach in college, you're not going to hurt a kid's draft status. You're not going to tell the absolute truth about, if a guy is not a very good kid, well, he's got a chance to go to the NFL draft. He's got a chance to get drafted high. He's got a chance to make a lot of money, and he might come from a situation where he's got to help some people. And a college coach is not going to say anything negative about him. They might allude to it a little bit, but that's just not going to happen.
Okay. Would you at least go so far as to say the one redeeming thing might be the interviews where you find out what a kid's really all about? Would you buy that?
I would buy that totally. But you can do that. I mean, you can now. Here's another plus. You get all these guys that come to the combine. You get them in one place. But you've got so many guys now that are not working out. I'm sure they still talk to coaches. I'm sure they still do that. They may not. I don't know. It's been so long since I've been removed from it. But that's the thing. You've got all the guys that are draft prospects that are under one roof, and you can look at them and you can interview them. That's fine. But all these big schools have pro days, even Troy. I mean, they have pro days. So all these guys, like, well, he was at the combine. Didn't you get enough there? Why does he got to work out at his pro day? So, it's just I think the two things is you get them under one roof and you can interview them. You can actually look at them, you get them under one roof, and you can interview them. I think that's the plus. All the other stuff is just kind of ridiculous to me.
Okay, now if you thought Kelly went way out on a limb, the next one is really going to get your attention. We'll go to the break and tell you that Kelly's World of Football will continue in a moment. But first, let's talk a little 24/7. Action 24/7. Are you betting on the NBA or the NHL playoffs? If you would, put that up there for me. Bottom line is simply this. Today at Action 24/7, use the promo code GEORGE. Get a 300% deposit match up to $20 on your first deposit. Action 24/7 is Tennessee's only locally owned and operated sports book. That's right. If you have questions, these are good folks. They'll help you. They are your neighbors, and they're located right here in Tennessee. So download the app or visit action247.com to start all that winning. And I'm taking a line out of the script where it says, please bet responsibly. I'm going to change it. Please bet the road team in the NHL playoffs. Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Links. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
I guess what you saw there means I got caught. We welcome all of you back to Kelly Holcomb's World of Football, where he's really going to take it and run with it. Kelly, you are projecting 10 and 20 years into the future as to what the game of football will or will not be.
Yeah, I don't know if I can project that. It's such a big moneymaker for our country. It's such a big moneymaker for the Power 5 schools. There's not a lot of people that make money in that. Like if you're looking at my old alma mater, I mean, I think they lose money. So, I think there's only a couple of teams in the big Power 5s that actually make money. But this comes from, and I'd like to have y'all's input too. This comes from me talking with my college coaches, Coach Donnelly and my quarterback coach, Alex Robbins. We've talked about it in length before, but, I think that with the DeMar Hamlin situation that happened this past year, I'm worried about the game of football. I pulled up a stat here. In 2009, there were almost 11. Well, there was 1,100,000, almost 110,000 kids playing high school football. This past year, there were 973,000. So I feel uncomfortable because I love the game of football. I think it's great, but I think that when you look at it, I mean, that's quite a big difference. And that's only 12 years? So that's quite a big difference, George, I don't think mommies are wanting little Johnny to play football anymore. And I think it's such a great game because it teaches such life lessons, but I am really worried about the future of football. Now, I may be totally wrong. I could be, because I like when you go to Alabama or you go to Ohio State or you're at Georgia or Clemson, I mean, and in the Southeastern Conference, you look at it, I mean, it's kind of like a religion down here. Saturdays in the South on the SEC network. But I just, man, if the numbers keep dropping like that, and me being a high school coach, it was pulling teeth to get kids to come to practice. And now, like when I was growing up in Lincoln County, and Coach Thompson, which played under Bear Bryant, he was kind of rough. And for me to come up to him and say, I can't come to practice tomorrow, like that's just something that you don't do. And like you have kids every day doing that. Like I've got a dentist appointment, I can't come to practice. Well, that's just something that you don't do. And I just like nowadays it's something that kids do. It's not what they love doing. I think they just, and I understand everybody wants to be part of something, but I just worry about the game of football. I really do, because I'm not sure, like 20 years down the road, and they're making helmets, they're making equipment so safe. And I will say this again, soccer has more concussions than the game of football, but you can't tell that to mothers. You can't tell that to fathers. There's a lot of kids that, were at Riverdale when I was there, and they would have been great football players, but they just want to stick with one sport, which I don't agree with either, but they just, like, football is on the back burner for a lot of those kids. A lot of the kids, like my son and a couple of guys that he graduated with, love football, love working at football. There's nothing better than football, but I just feel like, George, that's going by the wayside. I hope I'm wrong.
Okay, let's start with a couple of things here and see what you think. Number one, I think a lot of people who love football, in the fall, they'll set their whole weekend up. They'll get on the couch at 11 o'clock and they won't go to bed until 1 a.m.
Right.
when the Pac-12 game is over. And then they get right back up at noon, and they do the whole pro football thing from noon until 10:30 when NBC says goodbye on Sunday night, football in America.
Right.
But Kelly, I think one of the problems is that we now know way more than we used to about CTE, and we now, as opposed to hiding it in the past, we now show you the pro football players who are really struggling, so that the moms or the dads or both now have more ammunition to say to little Johnny, do you really want to end up that way?
You're right, George. You're absolutely right. But I've heard some guys, and I'm not going to say their names, but I've heard some guys that say, "Hey, I'm that played in the NFL for a long time. I don't want my son to play that. I really don't." And I just, my son's at Troy. He's playing football, and I enjoy watching him play. I know it's a rough game. If I had it to do all over again, George, I've had 8 concussions, the ones that I remember. And not all of them were football related, but most of them were. But I would do it all over again. I mean, I got so many friends from the game of football. I was able to stay in the National Football League for 13 years, which is a blessing. The Lord blessed me in many ways. I was able to make some good money. And I would do it all over again. I would take the shots. I would take all the broken bones, although that doesn't feel good right now at almost 50 years old. But you're absolutely right. I mean, that's what scares me about all this, because I think it's such a great game. But I think parents nowadays are literally convincing their sons not to play football. And it's I don't know if it's a tough reality. And here's another thing that you got to look at, George, is we've talked about the Power 5 conferences leaving the NCAA. So if they do that, they're the real money makers in all this. And if they do that and leave all the Group of 5 or Division II or Division III or NAIA, like, where does the money come from? Like, you're starting to hear of programs having to cancel the program. So it's such a great game, and I love playing it. I grew up playing baseball, and then I found football, and there was nothing better for me. But it just, when I talked to Coach Donnelly and when I talked to Coach Robbins, like 20, 25 years, it may still be around, but it may be totally different, because now you can't hit. I mean, it could be flag football at that point. So I don't know. I think it's such a great game, but I'm just I worry about it. I really do, George.
Okay, let me try a couple more questions. At 50, having played as long as you did in the NFL, you know that there's the possibility that when you get to 65, 70 years old, there's some things that may not be a problem today that might be then. Does that worry you?
It worries me, and we've talked about it before, but my mother is, she's in a home right now, and that runs in my family. So yeah, it does scare me. When I got to Buffalo, I met a homeopathic doctor, and he kind of changed my way of thinking about health. And a couple of years ago, through a guy in Atlanta, I had to fly to Miami, and I had a brain scan of my brain. And fortunately, right now, I do not have that. So it's something that I think about. Absolutely. It's something that I think about, but it cannot, and I hope I don't ever have it, obviously, because what my mother's going through now, my wife's best friend across the street, her father-in-law just passed away. It robs you of everything. And I certainly hope that I don't get that. I'm trying everything that I know how to do of eating and putting what's in my mouth to, to help me along the way. But it certainly is a thing that's scary, 15, 20 years down the road for me. Hopefully, Lord willing, I live that long. And it is one thing that I think about, George.
Okay, let me try this one on you. We have had enough technology to put people on the moon. We've done a lot of incredibly technological things over the years. I mean, these phones, whether you think they're the worst thing that ever happened in the world or not.
I do. Yes, I do.
But they're incredible technological things. Kelly, do you think we can get to a point where the helmet is 100% safe and that a kid won't get a concussion because of a blow to the head?
I don't know. I would like to think that the technology nowadays is heading towards that. I mean, some of the helmets they've got that I've seen is quite remarkable. I mean, it's not like the I had or the old bikes that I had back in high school. It's just not that way. Which that was something that was, other than the leather helmets way back when. But I think that at some point they can get to that. Whether that helps with the mothers and fathers about not letting their kids play football, I don't know. I don't know if you can stop that now. I hope you can. But just like I showed you, I mean, that's well over 100,000 people or 100,000 kids, well over 100,000 kids in 12 years. So if that number keeps diminishing like that, I mean, where do we go? Where do we go? I don't know. It just, it worries me. I think and I know I keep saying this, but it's just such a great game. It teaches so many life lessons. And way back when, when I went to middle, I mean, you had to be hard guys to play for a guy like Coach Donnelly. I mean, he was tough to play for. And, that is not the case today. They're doing it differently, which I agree with. But there's just something about being in a locker room with all your buddies, or something about being in a huddle with the other 10 guys, or something about, busting each other's chops and getting in the weight room and getting better and getting in the film room and going to position meetings and, going to there's nothing like it in the world. I love it. I miss it. I don't miss practice. I miss being around my buddies and I miss games, but there's just nothing like it in the world. The game of football is the greatest game has ever been invented. Now, I'm sure I'll get some kickback from that, but I love it. It's an American sport, and I just hope it stays around. And I'm sure it probably will, but I have my doubts.
Look, there's some numbers that give you reason to have the doubt. Kelly, even though I never played past fifth grade, and I've made jokes on the air, I didn't want to get hit. It hurt. I figured out very early, George, you don't appear to have a lot of ability. Kelly may be right about some lack of athleticism. But Kelly, I know that I still get geeked up in August. The first Friday night of high school football. It's one of the coolest things going to get there 30 minutes early to see everybody coming in, and they're buying the hot dog and the popcorn and the band that hits bad notes because there are only 8 of them in the band. It's still a cool thing. And the first real weekend of college football, around Labor Day, it's one of the great things going on in our country. And I worry about what you worry about, which is, where is this headed? On one hand, I'm sitting there saying, come on, football's way too popular. It isn't going to happen.
And it
is.
Then
you cite numbers where, okay, something is happening. So if a president of the United States decided that this was important enough to form a blue ribbon panel, and this president said to himself, I have seen Kelly Holcomb. George Plaster's a sharp cat. He wouldn't have Kelly Holcomb on if Kelly Holcomb wasn't really sharp. You like where I'm going here?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he put you on a committee and said, come up with some things for us that need to happen. What are the first couple that would be on your list?
I think you've got to get kids not at a really young age, because I can remember guys trying to get my son. I started when I was in the 7th grade. Nowadays they're starting. You have little tykes on the on the TV, which I don't agree with, because you might get a kid that could be really good down the road, but then you've got a young man that gets the trash knocked out of him, and then he gets gun shy. Well, if he's older, a little bit older, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, and he plays, well, he just understands that is the sport. That's part of being in football. But if he gets hit like at 5 years old and it shell shocks him, where do we go from there? I mean, he's not going to play anymore. I think that's a huge deal as well. I think they press these young kids too much at a very ripe early age. I don't agree with that, and that's what my buddy told me. He's like, well, you got to start your son early. And I said, I started in the 7th grade. And it kind of worked out for me, brother. So I think the later you can start a kid in football, I think you need to have more camps. I don't like these combines that people have. You and I talked about it today. When you go to these camps now, I mean, it's like the combine. It's like the Indianapolis combine. I took my son to a Vandy camp, and literally all it was, running the 40, the shuttle. It was like the NFL combine. I would rather my son go to a camp and learn how to play the game. I think that gets kids interested in that. But nowadays, everybody is just doing these combines. And I'm not a fan of that. I think if they can learn from a young age, how to play the game, not yet play, but how to play the game, I think it shows more interest. But I kind of think that's going away too, George, because I've done camps with kids, and I don't know how much the parents take into account that. It seemed to me like I stopped doing those camps because it seemed to me like it was a babysitting exercise. They just wanted to get their kids out of the house instead of learning the game of football. And I think that they need to start later. I think we need to have more camps, and I think that would draw interest. That would definitely draw interest. And I think the NFL is doing a really good job. They're going down. They're having flag football leagues, and they're trying to do that. I agree with that. But I don't know if you can keep mommy and daddy from not discouraging them from playing football. The helmets are getting better. Equipment's getting better. They got things that you can put on your shoulder pads now that'll tell you the impact of a certain hit. It goes right to a computer. They can tell you all that stuff. They can tell you if you're hydrated. The technology is getting crazy. So I think those are some of the things.
Okay, you have raised some really good stuff. Frankly, I'm shocked you were this deep. Seriously, though, you've raised some really good issues in this, and there will be a day in the dog days of summer where sports talk can get a little more challenging, where we're going to pick this back up and maybe go with a guest or two to sort of support some of where you're going with this, because it's a really important issue.
Really is.
We all love football, but at times there's this whole feeling about, I don't want to know how the sausage is made. I don't want to know about the 71-year-old who's drooling and doesn't know his name.
That's right.
And yet that's also a piece of, what goes on in this stuff. So great stuff on your end. Kelly Holcomb's World of Football was terrific today. Billy, what grade did you give it?
A+.
I
thought his thoughts on the locker room and the camaraderie of football was phenomenal. I mean, I'm like you, Drew. I didn't play in high school, but I played basketball and baseball, and David did as well. That's what sports is about. And I thought Kelly hit it right in the head. So I thought it was perfect.
So this was not a suck up trying to get on Kelly's good side.
That's big coming from Billy, man. That really is. But I think, talking about our country, I wish everybody would be part of a team. Everybody should be part of a team, and we probably wouldn't be in the situations that we're in right now because, you have to give of yourself. You're not going to like everybody in the locker room, but you got to respect them, and you're all going towards a common goal. And I think that's what's great about sports. If you can get away from the selfishness of yourself and you can, get into the team, you can win a lot of games. And I think everyone should belong to a team at some point in their life.
It's crazy when you're in it, Kelly. You don't realize it. There's days where you hate it. You just want to go home.
Yeah.
But when you're out of it, it's like, man, that changed my life.
It's final.
It really did.
It's very final.
David, are you going to suck up to Kelly?
Me and Kelly, kindred spirits, but the camaraderie in the locker room. I was fortunate enough in high school to play for a state championship in 2017 with Good Pasture. That was my favorite team. I would go play with them today if I could. And like Billy said, you don't get those memories back when you're in the grind of the off season during workouts. You want to go home and you want to do other things, but I would do anything to go back with that team and just simply have a lift and relive those days.
I'll pass on the lift as well. That was not a big strength. We'll go, Kelly, great stuff. We'll go to the final break and then Plaster Bet, or in this case, Bets of the Day, are coming up next from the beautiful Ford Ice Center in Bellevue.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication. And we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700. Send us a message at celestemiddleton.com or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Final segment on a Wednesday, the eve of the NFL draft. It's a big day tomorrow for the Titans But first, we got Placer's Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. They are the best in the business. Give them a call at 615-242-9000 or log on to bartdurham.com. George, I'm not able to get your results up. The graphic.
Good.
The slides don't want to connect right now, so that's probably a good thing for you.
Does that mean we vacate those picks?
Well,
they never happened.
we could do that if
I say
like.
for you, yes, we vacate those picks.
Yeah, thank you. We need to vacate them. They sucked.
Carolina, they blew
I had Carolina, which at home I thought was a codlock cinch. That didn't happen. And then I had Denver, who never came anywhere close to pulling. I'll say this. Denver may think they're a 1 seed, but if they don't play a whole lot better than that against Phoenix, that 1 seed is going down.
Yeah, it might hurt them that they played such a bad team in the first round.
Well, Minnesota's better than you think. They've got, in Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, they have got 2 hosses.
Bright future.
They do. They do have a bright future. So tonight we look to improve, and let me tell you why I'm going to take Memphis. I'm like a lot of people. I don't think Memphis is going to win this series, but I don't think their season is going to end tonight. I think they're going to win, and the likelihood is if they do, they're going to cover. That when they won a week ago, they won going away. They didn't allow their stupidity to get the Lakers back in the game. If they're going to win, they're going to win by more than 4. That's the logic I'm using. Now, on the NHL front, this Colorado-Seattle series has been tougher than anybody saw coming. The Kraken are all they're cracked up to be. Like that, Kelly? Yeah, very nice, huh?
That's so corny, George. I mean, leave that alone.
I know it is. Just deal with it, okay? You're almost through with me.
It is your show.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Colorado is the defending Stanley Cup champion. Tonight is where the line in the sand gets drawn. Is Seattle as good as Colorado? I don't think so. But through 4 games they are. Colorado has got to get some separation between them and Seattle, and I think they will do that tonight, and they'll get themselves a win. Kelly, tomorrow we have the NFL draft. What would Tom Moore say about the draft?
I'm not paying attention to that, son. I just coach who I've got.
Appreciate that. See you tomorrow.
See y'all.
Everybody behave. Please join us.